Crypto is the future of finance. Now, you've probably heard that from a number of different YouTubers before, and many of you likely believe it as well, myself included. But we are probably more than decades away from that actually being the case, from cryptocurrency and CBDCs actually taking over the world of fiat currency. Right now, it's a shame to say, but about 95% of the crypto or the NFT projects out there are either borderline scams or even worse, they're outright frauds. Insider trading, pump and dump scams, and Ponzi schemes are absolutely rife within the crypto community, and this has sadly always been the case. We do, though, have a brand new story, one of the biggest ones we've ever had, because this time a senior Coinbase employee has been arrested and charged with insider trading. Now, this is a pretty crazy story from what actually happened to the way that this person was caught. And of course, today we're going to go through the entire story, explain everything that happened, and then give you a little bit of context into why this is such a big problem at the end. So what exactly is the story we're talking about? Well, this document that you can see behind me here comes from the US Department of Justice, and it's them talking about how they have arrested and charged 3 people in the first ever cryptocurrency insider trading scheme. Now, what we basically saw happen was a senior product manager at the company of Coinbase called Ishan Wahi, his brother and one of their friends, arrested and charged with insider trading. Now, for those of you who don't really know, who aren't in the crypto sphere, Coinbase is a cryptocurrency exchange. It started off as just a website that allows people to buy and sell cryptocurrency. These days, though, they are absolutely massive. They are a multi-billion-dollar company with millions of separate users, and they offer loads of different services like lending cryptocurrencies, staking cryptocurrencies, and buying and selling NFTs too. They are the biggest centralized exchange in the US. They are seen almost as a blue chip cryptocurrency company, and they're the second largest exchange in the entire world. So it is safe to say that they're a pretty big deal in the world of decentralized finance. Now, another thing to note here is that Coinbase moves markets itself. That's how large and influential it is. When it lists smaller cryptocurrencies, they rise in value by a pretty ridiculous amount oftentimes, and this has become known as the Coinbase Effect. This little paragraph here explains it perfectly. The Coinbase Effect has turned into a phenomenon around the industry whereby a listing will positively affect a token or coin. The theory around the Coinbase Effect is simple. Get listed on Coinbase and your price will skyrocket. Now, Ishan, the protagonist of this whole story here, had a very decent job at Coinbase. He worked in the asset listing team, which is quite an exclusive team within the company, and he was one of the few people who had prior information to what would actually list on the site next. It is worth noting that 99% of the people who work at and for Coinbase, including people who are far, far higher ranked than Ishan, never got access to the information that he had because of how sensitive it was, because of this Coinbase Effect. Now, Ishan obviously sought to profit from this insider knowledge that he had, hence the charge for insider trading. What exactly did he do though? Well, for the last year, and with 25 different cryptocurrencies, he and 2 other people bought these cryptocurrencies before they were announced that they were going to be listed on Coinbase, and then after that announcement, once their price had risen drastically, he sold them for profit, and between the 3 of them, they made $1.5 million doing this. They then went through the process and tried to hide their actions using various centralized exchanges like Coinbase to try and sell these coins off to actually cement their profit, and in doing so they used a bunch of other people's names and basically committed a little bit of identity fraud as well. They funneled these funds through various different wallets, but there was an overarching problem, and that is, of course, know your customer legislation. Now, this legislation alone is really complicated, but in essence, to use a company like Coinbase or another centralized exchange like Binance or Kraken, you need to give that company your address, your name, maybe even some identification, and so it's actually quite difficult to buy or sell these cryptocurrencies without the company knowing who you are. Now, what went wrong then, and how did he get caught? Well, he was making large purchases in relatively small cap coins, so it wasn't too surprising that he got spotted. But what is interesting is that he didn't get caught out by the FBI or the CIA or some massive deep state organization, but instead by a random crypto Twitter bro called Kobe, who put out this tweet here. Found an Ethereum address that bought hundreds of thousands of dollars of tokens exclusively featured in the Coinbase asset listing post about 24 hours before it was published. As you can see, this random account bought $80,000 of Index, $76,000 of Chromatica, $73,000 of DAP Radar, $72,000 of RAC, $60,000 of DFX, and $27,000 of paper, each one of these coins would obviously go on to skyrocket in value, making Ishan loads of profit as they got listed onto Coinbase. Now, as someone who actually does stay pretty up to date with the crypto market, as you might expect from someone who runs a finance YouTube channel, I had never heard of a single one of these coins. So the chances that some random person had just picked these coins out of a hat and managed to get it perfectly right, guessing the exact correct coins that would be listed onto Coinbase within one day, is very damn low. To say that it's blindingly obvious what happened here would be a bit of an understatement, but unfortunately, Kobe isn't an authority himself. All he could really do is draw attention to this problem. Apparently, though, that was all he needed to do because the FBI and Coinbase themselves saw this tweet and started to investigate. This extract here is literally from the US Department of Justice, and it says that shortly after Ishan traded in advance of Coinbase's April 11th listing announcement, on April the 12th, a Twitter account that is well known in the crypto community tweeted regarding an Ethereum blockchain wallet that bought hundreds of thousands of dollars of tokens exclusively featured in the Coinbase asset listing post about 24 hours before it was published. This here is the FBI and the US Department of Justice citing this random Twitter account as the cause of their investigation and the reason that these people got caught. Now, unfortunately for Ishan, hardly any Coinbase employees actually had access to this information, so it was probably quite an easy job to actually narrow it down to this person. Ishan, though, did start to sense that something was wrong, and he bought a one-way ticket to India after being told to go to a meeting about a security concern with one of the senior executives at Coinbase. He texted his brother and his friend and told them that they had been caught, and he was about to get on the plane to India when instead he got arrested by the police. He's now been charged with 2 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of wire fraud conspiracy, and his 2 co-conspirators have been charged with 1 count each, meaning that Ishan is facing up to 40 years in jail, while the other 2 are facing up to 20, and that's really where we're left off today, with this insider trading scam caught out by a random crypto Twitter bro who just happens to pay attention to big whales, big wallets making weird moves. Now, of course, this being cryptocurrency and this kind of industry, the story doesn't quite stop there because Coinbase came out and put out a very angry reaction to this accusation by the SEC, with the chief legal officer saying that Coinbase does not list securities, end of story. Basically, he's saying, how could this possibly be securities fraud if crypto aren't securities because the SEC doesn't consider them to be so? Now, on the surface, this is quite a bad look for Coinbase. It does appear as though they're defending their employee. It looks like on the surface, from headlines from media sites like CNBC, it seems like Coinbase is defending this insider trading. But the reality is that they're complaining about the regulation by the US government, or rather the lack of regulation, their opaqueness, and their laziness when it comes to deciding how to regulate cryptocurrency. What did they literally have to say? Well, the SEC's allegation could have broad implications beyond this single case, underscoring how critical and urgent it is that regulators work together. Regulatory clarity comes from being out in the open, not in the dark, and then, instead of crafting tailored rules in an inclusive and transparent way, the SEC is relying on these type of one-off enforcement actions to try to bring all digital assets into its jurisdiction, even those assets that are not securities. The problem here is that no one really knows how regulation works in this industry. Whether or not Bitcoin is a security or a commodity is a very controversial topic right now that doesn't have a correct answer. The same can be said for Ethereum and countless other cryptocurrencies as well, because the simple truth is this regulation hasn't caught up to how massive this industry is, and so no one knows what the actual answer is. Now, Coinbase says that the US government is picking and choosing what laws to enforce based on no logic in an attempt to expand their authority and to make their organizations larger. This does have really problematic implications for Coinbase as well, because if these coins are suddenly considered securities almost out of the blue, then Coinbase's business fundamentally breaks the laws due to the regulations that would be in place on the assets that it trades. So it is very important to have clarity regarding this issue. Of course, though, this isn't the only problem with the crypto industry. The biggest problem, in my opinion, is that other scams are still absolutely rife within this entire market. If the FBI actually want to start investigating this kind of thing and prosecuting these criminals who act within this industry, then the easiest thing for them to do would be just to start by watching CoffeeZilla videos. Literally, watch his videos, take notes and track those wallets because he's exposed countless frauds himself. There are NFT pump and dumps, Ponzi schemes, and just outright frauds all over the place. The list is quite literally endless. And of course, There are some massive celebrities that are implicated as well. Logan and Jake Paul have participated in numerous crypto scams, and they've done it with total immunity. Kim Kardashian and Floyd Mayweather took part in the Ethereum Max crypto scam and again acted with absolute impunity. Clarity is certainly needed by these authorities to actually move this industry in the right direction, but also we need some consistency too. When crimes are committed, they need to be investigated, they need to be properly dealt with, and at the moment they're not, because the US government, and actually every other Western government as well, is massively dropping the ball here. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to like, comment and subscribe to bless the YouTube algorithm. It really does help. If you want to join our exclusive community, then check out our Patreon. You get access to our Discord server and extra content like access to my portfolio and buy and sell alerts for all my own investments. Also, make sure to check out the link in the description to Masterworks. It can help you protect your portfolio against market turmoil through fractional shares of art from world-famous artists. Art has historically proven to be uncorrelated to the markets, so it's a really valuable resource with the markets falling every week. There's also a link in the description to I Trust Capital, which helps you to invest in crypto through your tax-advantaged IRA, which could literally save you thousands. If you, like me, think crypto going down is a buy-in opportunity, then now is the perfect time to join I Trust Capital. Thank you all for watching. Stay stoic. Until next time.